This portfolio has been created by Tamara Skorich, Lena Llewellyn, Krista Gunter and Tanya Murphy for EDP 373 Inquiry in the Humanities and Social Sciences Classroom. The inquiry unit is aimed at children in Year 5. It uses the Kath Murdoch inquiry method to explore the big idea of Australian communities and poses the question to students: how have significant events, as well as influential groups and individuals, had an impact on Australian communities? The unit will run for a total of 10 weeks and include a range of engaging activities. Initially, the lessons will aim to tune students in and activate their prior knowledge of colonisation and events in the 1800s. As the weeks progress, students will be guided through a range of instructional and inquiry activities, as well as a number of formative and summative assessment tasks. The key focus of this inquiry unit is to capture students' attention through the introduction of the big idea of Australian communities and to help them realise that Australia wasn't always the way it is today. A number of significant events, groups and individuals had an influence and impact on making Australia what it is today. Students will be taken on a journey through what life was like in the British colonies of the 19th century and will be given the opportunity to view significant events from a number of perspectives. Along the way, they will have many opportunities to explore and learn through engaging activities and tasks, which will assist them in refining fundamental skills such as ethical and intercultural understandings, personal and social capabilities, and critical and creative thinking. The inquiry unit is predominantly focused on the history substrand of the Australian curriculum and integrates content and capabilities from the English, arts, technologies, and health strands. Students will have the opportunity to develop their skills in collaborative learning, creative writing, script writing and drama, critical and creative thinking, researching, information and communications technology, cultural understanding, and creative art techniques. Throughout the unit, they will also develop their understanding of concepts such as significance, continuity and change, cause and effect, place and space, interconnections, roles, rights and responsibilities, and perspectives and actions.
The purpose of the big idea is to capture the students' attention as well as to give students the freedom and skills to build upon what they already know. This big idea focuses on Australian communities and looks at how significant events, people and groups have had an impact on Australian communities. In order to do this, students will be looking at the impact of colonisation in the 1800s as well as the Eureka Stockade, and look at how these events have had an impact to Australia as we know it. Students will also build upon fundamental skills such as critical and creative thinking, personal and social capabilities, and intercultural understanding. Learning about significant events as told by people who lived within that time will encourage empathetic thinking and feeling to hopefully achieve the goal of creating active and informed citizens. Students will also use various means to display their learning both individually and as a group. Students will be creating monologues, calligrams, and infographics, and so on, to encourage creativity and to also have children display their learning as well as enjoy what they are learning about. The curriculum focus for humanities and social sciences for Year 5 students is to build an understanding of their world, both past and present. They will learn about famous people of the 1800s and the significant role these people had in shaping the community in which they lived in. Students will learn about the day-to-day experiences of significant people or groups, which include the struggles experienced, and will build empathy towards these groups. By studying the different viewpoints and issues of the past, we can compare them to the issues experienced in our own community and think about how we can help to resolve them and build a better community for ourselves. This inquiry will also feature key aspects of the Year 5 English curriculum. Students will be provided with various forms of literary texts, both primary and secondary, and will use these texts to learn about life in the 1800s from a social and historical perspective. Drama will also have a major role as students are required to present their work through dramatic means such as creating and performing a monologue.
The inquiry learning process aids students' development of specific skills as historians as they engage through a rich selection of historical sources that challenge them to draw their own conclusion about the growth of Australian colonies from the 19th century. The inquiry highlights Indigenous peoples' perspectives, the roles played by significant individuals, important events that shaped the nation, convict experiences, daily life in the colonies, the impact on the environment, and reason for migration to Australia. Students will become active and informed citizens as they navigate their way through the inquiry process, gaining a deeper understanding of the big idea Australian communities alongside cultivating their social capabilities and belief for justice. This inquiry aims to create a learning environment where students are able to become curious, confident, and creative inquirers, where rethinking is inevitable, and authentic, relevant, and meaningful activities drive the inquiry. Throughout the process, students have the opportunity to draw on multiple ways of exploring and communicating their understanding, whilst integrating skills and content from multiple learning areas. The process outlines high-impact teaching strategies, such as explicit teaching of skills, questioning, and collaborative learning. Students' thinking is highlighted in activities such as six-hat thinking, think, pair, share, jigsaw, compare and contrast, hot seat, and reflective activities. Students initially engage with the inquiry through diagnostic testing of prior knowledge of Australian pre- and post-colonisation, through informal questioning, class discussions, and creating a mind map. Students then explore primary and secondary sources as they locate and gather information pertaining to Australian communities from books and videos, for example. Information is then sorted into infographics, calligrams, written texts, and drama performances to demonstrate their understanding. Students will gain insightful understanding of ideas pertaining to the Australian communities through excursions such as to the State Library and the Eureka Day excursion. Students will gain a deeper appreciation of the impacts of European colonisation on Aboriginal peoples and their land by an excursion from a local Aboriginal elder. There is a focus on mini-inquiries in the process, drawing attention to the key historical people and events that were significant in the development of colonies, such as the Eureka Stockade. Students will write a narrative text, perform a monologue, and record it as an assessment piece, and draw on what they have learnt throughout their inquiry to take action as they define and give examples of justice and injustice. Finally, students reflect on the new understanding as they engage in reflective activities such as journal entries and mind map reflection.
This unit of inquiry uses diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment throughout. A diagnostic assessment is completed through the Think, Pair, Share session, where students are asked to write on post-it notes what they already know about the topic. This, combined with the creation of a mind map, allows teachers to identify students' prior knowledge of the unit and where learning is required. Understanding students' prior knowledge also assists in sorting mixed ability grouping for learning activities to promote a scaffolding learning environment. Formative assessment is completed throughout the unit with students engaging in a variety of multimodal activities, such as newspaper article creation, writing a biography, and then using sentences and keywords to create a calligram. The ongoing journal writing is used as a reflection tool throughout the unit. Students will be taking action with the Active Kindness Wall throughout the term by connecting with the social aspects of this unit, developing empathy for their peers, and becoming socially informed citizens. A summative assessment is completed through the inquiry project of the unit, where students research a community of the Australian early settlement period and construct a script that demonstrates what the community went through during this time. The student will record their monologue and edit the video ready for presentation to the class. The teacher will assess the content of the monologue and the demonstrated deeper understanding of the social context of what they have learnt. In this project, students will explore a community from Australia's early settlement period. In groups of 2, using the Think, Pair, Share strategy, students will research their selected community. This strategy promotes deeper conversation for students to discuss the information and reaffirm their own knowledge through each other's. After explicit teaching lesson and creating a script, each student will create a monologue demonstrating key points of the researched information. Students will engage in ICT activities by recording each other and editing own work. This project aims to educate students of Australia's past while developing socially informed citizens that have empathy and understanding towards others and are accepting and supportive of diversity.